Hello students, let's get started talking about chapter 9. Chapter 9 is on hypothesis testing, and it's kind of a natural end to where we've been going here. Think about it. We've put together a lot of information about looking at different items, and now what hypothesis testing allows us to do is to actually prove. So we've been working our way up to this. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about give ourselves a little vocabulary here. Okay, so we're going to start with a hypothesis. It's a claim about a population parameter. It's something that we're trying to claim about, to prove, we're making a claim about a population parameter. And a hypothesis test it's a standard procedure. It's a formal procedure. A standard procedure for testing a claim. A claim about a population parameter. Okay. All right, so given that, the way that we set this up is we kind of like, we're gonna actually have two different hypotheses. We're gonna have what we call our null hypothesis and our alternative hypothesis. Okay. Okay, so our null hypothesis is we're going to write as capital H, lowercase 0. That is our null. And our alternative, we're going to have capital H, lowercase a. And that's our alternative hypothesis. And it's kind of a game that we work here. So, but first of all, so our null hypothesis is always going to be in the form of an equality. Okay, that's important because you're going to have to write these. So you're always going to have to say that something is equal to. So we've got an equal sign. Our alternative takes three forms, okay, depending upon the situation that we're looking at. It's either going to be a less than, a greater than, or a not equal. So there's three different forms here. And the way I think about the null is that it's sort of like it's my status quo. Okay, it's what I think, the way things are, the way they are. So it's our status. It's our status quo. Status. Come on. Status quo. And really, it's really what we want to reject. So we want to set this up in such a way that we can prove what we want by making our null something that we can reject. It's kind of sneaky in a way. And our alternative is what we want to prove. We want this to be true. Usually, we want to prove this, and we can't prove the null. All we can really do is reject it if it doesn't really fit what we think it should fit. Okay, so that got us started. I'm going to open up a new page here because I need a little bit more room. So let me go to a new page here. And I'm going to ask the question being, how, let's let's make it so we can see what I'm typing here. How do we decide to reject or not reject the null? Okay. And it's very important to see that we are not proving the null. We're not saying that it's true. We're going to either say that we're going to reject it or we don't have enough information to reject it. Those are our two choices here. We're either going to reject or fail to reject. Okay? And we're going to decide by looking at, there's two different ways to decide. Okay, there's two ways. It doesn't matter which one you choose, by the way. It's probably going to be the format of the question that's going to help you decide that. So the first one is we look at the significance, or to be specific, the statistical significance. Okay, and so what we'll do here is we're going to set a threshold. We're going to say we could look at 0.01 as our threshold, or we could look at 0.05. So this one is 1 out of 100. This one is 1 out of 20. So it depends upon, what we're looking at, what threshold we want. If we were trying to make a decision about some medical procedure, we may even want this to be smaller, right? If we're making a decision about something more mundane that doesn't have such a big value, about whether a particular TV program is popular, then we may not need to have such a significant level, okay? So we set the parameter ahead of time, and we make a decision, okay, are we going to, if it's less than 0.01, we're going to reject, or if we have a significance of 0.05, we're going to reject. So this tells us whether we're going to reject the null or not. But if the value doesn't meet, then what we're going to do is we're going to fail to reject. If it's greater than these values, we're going to fail to reject the null. Okay? It'll make more sense when you do some problems. Okay, another way that we talk about making this decision is we have something called the p-value. And it seems like statisticians are in love with the letter P. So this is a different way to use the letter P. P-value really standing for probability value. Okay, so if we have a small probability value, a small p-value, and how am I going to say what small is? Let's say it's less than or equal to 0.05. So a small value, p-value, I reject. A large p-value, greater than 0.05, I fail to reject. I fail to reject. Okay. Having said all of this is actually section 9.1, by the way. Having said all of this, these decisions are somewhat arbitrary. And if you were a statistician, you probably would report the p-value specifically and let your readers make a decision on whether to reject or not to reject. Because by just setting, if I have 0.049 or 0.051, that's not that much different than 0.05. So, we do set these thresholds and we do make decisions, but understand that in a research situation, you may report the p-value so that your readers understand what the true number was. All right, looking forward to the next section, 9.2. I will get that posted so you'll have two different concepts maps for this section.